Also, this is grainy and just going to look like total crap.
You can't get it to work from your phone?
Nope, it's not going to work from my phone. So this is just how it's going to be tonight. Kind of grainy and having to stream straight through YouTube. Wait for some people to start showing up. It's just not working through Streamlabs. That's all I know right now.
Okay.
Oh, I see some people starting to come in. Having a little bit of a technical issue tonight, guys. I tried to get it going through Streamlabs, and YouTube changed the whole live streaming dashboard, and it's not working out right. So yeah, we're streaming straight through the webcam on YouTube, and I think it looks like shit because YouTube sucks. Hey Rich, how's it going, man? Not too bad over here. Just busy, man. Busy all the time. It feels like it's never ending. Gavin Woods, hey, how's it going? I don't think I've seen you here before. We got a lot going on tonight, kind of waiting for people to start showing up. Again, guys, I'm sorry it's so grainy. It's just, it's technical issues tonight. Just how it's going to go. So how you doing over there, Rich? Where are you at today? Oh, okay. Well, what's up, Gav? How are you doing, bud? Man, shouldn't you be in bed? You guys got school tomorrow. Oh. We are kind of holding off the main part of the show until Steve gets here because, yeah, we're supposed to be live streaming Courtney's 6 Huntsman questions. And then, yeah, we're going to be going over some new gear that I have acquired one way or the other, and we'll talk about how I've acquired it. But yeah, Rich, it's really been busy, man. I've got like a month and a half of content just stacked up and waiting to be edited because that series ended up being, the anniversary series ended up being an 8-part series instead of just 6. And yeah, it took like a month and a half to get the whole thing put out. Man, I'm really depressed that I could not get Streamlabs to work for this. I don't like it. But we'll make it work. That's what we do. We deal with our failures here. Man, 5 minutes. It's only been the 2 of you guys. Where is everybody at tonight? Let's give me a second so I can share this out, guys. I know a lot of our people come from Facebook when they see the Facebook notification. They don't get the YouTube notification sent right to them yet. There we go. Hey, Jefferson. Good to see you. How's it going, man? Gavin, we still have his snake skin. We've got it right now. It's just in a plastic Ziploc bag until we can find a board that we're gonna pin it, and then we're gonna pin it to a board and then put a coat of epoxy over top of it to preserve it. But yeah, right now it's still just in a Ziploc bag. And yeah, we ended up finding another. Well, I think it was him, Deegan, and his mom. They found another bird nest out in the yard, and it was like a little small one too. It's only about this big, and it's just like the one that I found when the trees in our front yard got blown over. It was made out of horsehair instead of like grasses and twigs. It was actually woven out of horsehair. It was really cool. Joshua Thomas, how's it going? I don't think I've seen you here before, so thanks for coming in, man. Oh, we're still kind of just waiting for people to show up. Yeah, well, dude, I don't quite think this is going to be the place for you then, huh? Oh, Gavin, the oldest pine tree that was out there was 80. It had 87 rings on it. There, we'll just put Joshua in timeout because I'm not going to tolerate some shit like that. Hiking Deep, how's it going, man? Yeah, guys, I'm not going to tolerate somebody showing up here trying to put some shit like that in the chat. Like we're not going to roll that way. I don't know, some jackass in the chat saying I got laid by my mom. Anyways. Okay, guys, so we have the 6 questions from Steve tonight. We're going to talk about the new gear in the pack tonight. And then we're going to take some questions coming out of the chat tonight, along with everything else. We were going to do a... Oh, hiking, because I deleted it. We were going to actually do the stream out in the shop tonight, but I just was not feeling it. And so the little stove test that I had planned, that's not going to be part of the stream tonight. So I put him in timeout. We'll see what happens. If it comes to having to block him, then I'll block him. But I'm gonna do this, man. Because as of now, I got you guys that are all pretty steady on showing up, and I have no mods in my chat. Hey, Jeff Jackson. No, you're fine. Do what you were going to do. So actually, since Hiking Deep is in here, we're going to go ahead and talk about something that my good buddy out there sent me. I've actually not got to use anything in here yet, but me and Hiking Deep did a little bit of trading. So he sent me a fire kit. And there's quite a few goodies in here, so let's check it out. Thick old rubber band holding it closed. And like I said, guys, again, I'm sorry about it being grainy. I tried to get Streamlabs to work, but I'm like a bouncer. Build and all, man. All right, so we've got some oh, I think they're like fire fuzz. They look like there's some wax infused cotton balls or some oil infused cotton balls. I've opened this thing up a ton of times and been playing around with the stuff inside of it. There's the Huntsman. I was wondering when you were going to show up, man. You missed it. We're already booting people out of the chat and putting guys in timeout and everything. So there's a little box of matches in here that he sent. Now this is actually something I've never used before, guys. It's called Maya dust. And I actually had to look up a couple videos of guys using this because I didn't want to just like throw it all out and burn it up in one shot. But yeah, a little bag of Maya dust. Pixie dust. Yours is the pixie dust. You walk around with the little potion bottles of purple shit in the woods. And then let's see, there's also the little ferro rod in here, little 3-inch unicorn cakes. Those are in the survival kit. And hiking deep, I've actually been meaning to take your advice on, you know, putting the ferro rod inside of one of these blocks, like a handle, so that you've got your I'm just at a loss for it tonight, guys. Yeah, so that you've got your fire source right into your handle. I just have not had the chance to get into that yet. But yeah, also in this kit, you know, there's a bunch. He sent a bunch of these little tinder blocks, all natural. And yeah, man, you were right. These things do smell a lot like it almost smells like somebody left them sitting in a can of paint thinner. But they're all natural. It's all natural fire starters. I guess it's pine pinch and like beeswax and some other stuff in there. Bet you could start a fire with cupcake icing. I'll bet you could too. We got to see that. You got to live stream that one now. You have to start a fire with the cupcake. And then he sent me a couple all-weather matches. True all-weather matches. And I mean, you can't send somebody a fire kit without a means of, you know, scraping down the tinder sources and striking the ferro rod, right? So there's this nice little knife. And it's actually, you were right, man. This thing's got a sharp edge and it holds it great. On it. All right, let me get this out of my way for the moment. Infused with demon tears. I thought you had Frank crying in a jar. All right. On to the next one. So I entered into a couple giveaways, and that's, well, Josh, because I mean, you're banging your mom in the live chat, dude. So we don't do that kind of shit here, man. Oh, all right. So I got into a couple giveaways from these other smaller channels, and I actually won 2 of them. So a big shout out to Justin over there at Waypoint Outdoor Adventures. Yeah, Jeff, I also won one of JV's giveaways too. But the one that I got from Waypoint was actually a little survival kit, and it's got one of these like the survival card in there with some arrowheads. He's got a couple fish jigs. And then, yeah, there was 2 fire starters in here, a right in the rain notepad and an emergency blanket, and then this little survival bracelet. All right. If you're just going to spam it, dude, we're going to get you out of here. Give me a second, guys. All right, I'm not seeing the block feature, so if one of my mods want to go ahead and block him, I'm not seeing it. How do I do that? Somebody educate me. How do I control my own stream here? All right, we'll figure it out as we go. So yeah, like Jeff was saying, the next giveaway that I won was actually from JV Outdoors, and it was an entire pack full of shit. So, and the pack. Thanks, Ike and Deep. I don't care about guys coming in and having a good time, but if you're gonna come in and just start off with some shit like that, don't bother. Like, there's having a good time, and then there's like showing up just to be an asshole, and that's exactly what that was. So yeah, the big part was like, I don't remember if this is a 35 or a 50 liter pack. I think it's a 50 liter because it's got quite a bit more room than my LL Bean one does. So yeah, let's check out what's in here, right? You got a set of binoculars, and these are actually fairly nice. They're like, I think 10 by 40, 10 by 42. Him and his mom are going to have a great night. Now, let's see if I can not blow this bottle up by dropping it. Hey, have a good one, Gavin. Thanks for stopping over, man. So, yeah, if you guys have followed the channel for any amount of time, then you know when I was on the walleye charter, I dropped my triple tree on the boat, and I actually blew the bottom of the bottle out. It split it right open. So he sent a 750 ml water bottle. It's another triple tree. We got a 5x7 tarp from Key Peak. Patriot Pantry 72-hour survival kit. Well, food kit. Another, well, this is like a survival lanyard, I guess. There's just so much stuff that I've got recently, guys. Have a good one, Hiking Deep. Thanks for stopping in, man. 100 foot of paracord. Now, this is L&N Custom Scents insect repellent. And guys, this actually does not smell like bug spray. It really doesn't have much of a scent to it, really. So I don't know, with it already getting cooler around here, our bugs aren't too bad. I don't know if we'll be able to really get this into too much use yet. But we'll definitely be using it at least in the spring. We'll see how it works. We got another Huntsman Gorilla Survival Ferro Rod. This is another 1/2 inch by 6 inch big boy. This is like my 6th Huntsman rod, I think. Which I'm pretty sure he uses bayite rods, and they're just rebranded because they strike just like a bayite does. And then we also got this, it's a little like utility knife and multi-tool. It's actually not too bad. And then it's got 2 little bits on here, the bit driver in the end. This is probably going to end up in the back of the 4-wheeler because I do not have a utility blade in the 4-wheeler yet. The other knife is actually pretty nice for being a cheapo knife. I like it. Timberwolf brand. I think this one's called the Wild Steel. Not bad. It's, like I said, it's a pretty cheap knife. I did have a little bit of an issue getting a nice, like, sharp edge to stay on there, but I have not really got to beat on it yet, so we'll see how it holds up. Okay, I think that was really about it. So let me get everything out of my way, guys. Oh, that's awesome, Steve. Judith Davis, how's it going? Glad you could stop in. Oh. Man, does this look as bad for you guys as it does for me? Like, this picture just looks like total crap. We're going with it. We are running with it. It's just what we do here. That's really cool, Steve. I'd like to see what he ends up coming up with. If it's inspired by your channel, it's going to be something wild. Here, let me tilt this down so I can lean back. Well, it's a learning curve, but YouTube also changed their live dashboard since I did it last, and it's been over 2 months since we've been live. So it's, yeah, like I tried to figure it out in a half an hour and I can't figure it out. Like I couldn't figure out how to get the encoder, your stream key from YouTube copied into the encoder on Streamlabs. It just, I could not find the option in Streamlabs to do it. Charles Hoffman. Isn't that who made your first knife that you've been carrying around forever? That's what I thought. The name sounded familiar. I thought it might have been the same guy. Mo Homesteading, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you. So, are you guys ready for these Courtney's question for a huntsman? I don't know. Steve, what do you want to call them? That's kind of, if we're winging it, that's just off the top of my head what we're coming up with. Miss Judith is everywhere. I see her in everybody's live streams. Greg O'Day, thanks for stopping in, man. Court's question seems simple enough. There we go. Court's questions. I got them wrote down in my little thinking book. All right, so question number 1. Judith is awesome. Question number 1. If you found a bear's scat in the woods, would you film it or run like hell? Well, I mean, I've already made the deal with my wife that if I happen to get mauled by something in the woods, that she can sell the death audio. Kind of like that, the grizzly guy who him and his girlfriend got mauled up in Alaska, and then his wife sold the death audio, and she got in all kinds of lawsuit trouble for that. Does anybody remember that incident? So I'd have to film it. I'd have to chase this thing down and film it. But I'm not remember the movie Backcountry? Yes. Wasn't the movie Backcountry based off of that incident? Oh man. I'd have to track it for at least a mile or two to see if I could find it and get it on film. Like, guys, I mean, I'm just not afraid of the other animals in the woods. If it's going to eat me, it's going to eat me. I've lived a pretty good life so far. Oh. Question number 2. Who is your historical hero? That's a hard one to answer, really. Because, like, I didn't write any of my answers down either, guys. This is all coming right out of here as we're doing this. My historical hero. It would probably have to be, man, it's a toss-up, because you've got the Indian chiefs who led the resistance against their culture being completely eliminated by white man, but you've also got all the trapper men who like led the way for breaking through to the Pacific. I'm going to go with William Henry Ashley, because he was kind of like the biggest influence on the trapping trade, and, you know, breaking the trails open for the frontiersmen to start moving across the country. He basically put the fur trade in its prime. If you could travel anywhere, number 3, Lewis and Clark. Gio, you have a good one. I was kind of thinking Lewis and Clark, but that was an exploratory expedition. So I guess it does work, because those, they did truly open the way. Lewis and Clark like mapped it all out, and they made it possible by trading with some of the Indian tribes along the way. But like I said, that was an exploratory expedition. William Henry Ashley went out there with I mean, they all went out with purpose, but a specific job, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, and it still doesn't feel like it fits right. Number 3, if you could travel anywhere, where would it be and why? I'd want to do a tour around South America, because I'd want to go into the jungle and find all of the Maya ruins and things like that. I think that would be an amazing trip, but I'd want to do it on foot, as much of it on foot as I could. And I know that finding a lot of like the Mayan ruins, that is, you're hiking back to them. There's no motorcycle trails that go to them. There's no roadways. You're hiking and finding them. I think that would be awesome. And then like being able to do dives down into the cenotes, that would be really cool. Jefferson, I've always loved the design of Mayan architecture. What they did with stone in the middle of the jungle and the civilizations that they grew up, it was just amazing. Yeah, Judith, they're finding more and more with satellite, the more that they look. You know what, Jefferson? You're always here too. Can't leave Steve the last mod standing. Number 4, who is your biggest inspirational motivation? That's a toss-up between 3 people, really. Because my son makes me want to be a better man and a better dad. My wife makes me want to be a better father, well, a better husband and a better man. And my uncle is kind of the person I talk to when I'm getting really down about things and need a little bit of a verbal kick in the ass to get myself in gear. And I mean, I watch my wife and my uncle work their asses off for what they and what we have. So Sarah was the big driving force to me getting back outdoors, guys. I mean, after my surgeries, I stayed out of the woods for 10 years and I was getting cabin fever, and she was the one that got me back out there. You know, hey, go get whatever you need to get you back outdoors. You know, you got to get out of this and start being happy again. I appreciate that, Judith. Thank you. Number 5, tell us the story of your first hunt trip. Women will inspire more than anything else. That is exactly right, Steve. Somehow, it's those to-do lists. Those to-do lists are magic spells. Hey, Frontier. How's it going, man? We're not in the woods or in the wood shop. We've got this grainy, ugly thing happening with the webcam on my laptop because Streamlabs completely failed on me today. Looks okay on your end? Man, to me it looks like crap. It's working though. We're dealing with it. Thanks, Mo. All right, so my first hunt trip. And Courtney, if I remember right, when Steve was talking about his, she didn't want the first hunting experience. She wanted the first time that you went out hunting with the intent to hunt. Like to take life your own. Correct, Steve? Am I right there? Because I can remember the first time that I ever went hunting with my stepdad, and I carried a BB gun. My first kill. Okay. So I grew up mainly rabbit hunting. We had beagles. And we had Butchie for the longest time. That was my stepdad's first, or not his first beagle, but the first beagle that he had when him and my mom got married. So yeah, we ran beagles, busting through brush and briars and log piles and all that, trying to flush rabbits out, getting them out for the dog to chase. And I can remember, because I actually still trap on the farm that we grew up rabbit hunting on. So as you're going down the road, there's this giant cornfield to the left, and then, there's all cornfields to the left, but there's two cornfields that are broken by a section of woods that's about 100 yards wide. And there was like a drainage swath that came down through those woods between or out of both fields. And when it froze, the rabbits would like to run right through that drainage swath, and it grew up with briars real thick. So the first time that I actually took my shotgun out hunting, I was like 14 years old. We let Butchie out of the truck, and it wasn't even 30 seconds of us letting him out of the truck, and he starts with that old-fashioned beagle ball, starts kicking him up. Rob's loading his double barrel. He had an old double barrel that his dad gave him. It actually had it had the hammers on the back with the firing pin that went straight through. It wasn't like your newer double barrels where you just close the breech and pull both triggers and away you go. It actually had the hammers on the back side. It was that old fashioned, but not a cap lock. And so anyways, I had, it's wintertime when rabbit season comes around in Ohio. So I can remember I had on my big puffy Northwest Territories coat, which I actually still have today. And I had these green pull-on brush chaps. You pulled them on over the pants that you were wearing, and then you secured them onto your belt strap. They sucked. They did not stop briars whatsoever. So here I am. Got my gun out in front of me, and I'm pushing the briars back, and stomping through them and kicking rabbits out. And Rob's shooting them on there was like an oil well on the back corner of this field. So he's walking on the road that goes to the oil well, and I'm just inside of that wood line and on the edge of that drainage swath, and I'm pushing rabbits out with the dog. Rob's shooting him on the lane as he's walking down. And he had this rule that if you saw a rabbit, you had to yell rabbit. And it was so that everybody in the hunting party knew there was one coming by. But Rob was a crack shot and he was good at what he did. So every time we would yell "rah," he'd get shots off and end up taking our rabbits. So I thought I was going to get sneaky on him one time. And it was, every time yelling rabbits, Rob's shooting my rabbits. I never got to shoot at a rabbit up until this point. So we're pushing, and I get to this little bit of a clearing, and Butchie comes running up between my legs, and he hits this little tiny grass patch, and it's no bigger around than a 55-gallon drum. And 4 rabbits come flying out of there. So before I could even react and yell rabbit, I had 6 shots unloaded out of my shotgun and 2 rabbits laying on the ground. But I didn't get those 2 rabbits until the last 2 shots coming out. I got in so much shit because I did not start yelling rabbit. Rob drugged me out of the brush, drugged me back to the truck, and we went home. That was my first hunting experience for rabbits. First time out with my shotgun. So it was almost like a Huntsman, but I didn't put 9 shots in one deer. I had 6 shots of 6-shot out of a 20 gauge into 2 rabbits. My first time killing rabbits, I got a double. Now, my first time hunting deer, we were down in AEP, down by Columbus, Ohio. He was ground up before he hit the ground. So my first time deer hunting, me, my stepdad, my 2 brothers, my cousin Clyde, well, my stepdad's cousin Clyde, took us down to southern Ohio, and I was 16 at the time. I'd already had my first spinal surgery. I'd been out hunting. I was in Boy Scouts. I'd been out in the woods, I don't know how many times. So, excuse me. They take me and they drop me off at this oil well. And if you guys have ever been down to AEP, if anybody knows what that is, there's oil wells all over the place down there. So almost anywhere that you pull off, it's an oil well road. Well, they drop me off on this oil well road, and Clyde walks me back about 200-300 yards and sits me at the base of this tree. And they give me a walkie-talkie. It says, if you shoot anything, ring up and we'll come get you. He said, but if you shoot something, do not get up. Do not go try to track it. Sit your ass down and stay there. Grew up just northeast of AEP. I thought you grew up around where you're at now. So anyways, I'm sitting there, and they drop me off just as daylight's breaking. So I'm sitting there, and it feels like I'm there for 3 or 4 hours. I was probably only there for a half an hour. But I remember this 12 point coming down, coming around. I watched him come up from my right side, and he walked all the way up along this ridge top. And this ridge top's probably only 50 yards out in front of me. Now, I did not have my gun. I had Clyde's 12 gauge at the time, and it was a 12 gauge bolt action. I had a scope on it. It was a nice gun, but he never even took us out to try to shoot these things so that I knew where my point of impact was. It was basically just, oh, here's this slug gun. Here's a tree. Good luck. Call us if you get something. So he sits me down. I'm waiting. Here comes this buck, and I'm watching him for a good half an hour. He's just taking his time. Real slow, working his way across the top of this ridgeline. Ramsey, how's it going? We're actually talking about your neck of the woods. Your neck of the woods is where I went deer hunting for the first time. So this deer works his way out in front of me, and he's probably only 50 yards out. He stops right in front of this big, massive tree. So, you know, he's up on a ridge. He's in front of a tree. That gives me a good backdrop. There's no way a slug is going through a tree. Not a tree that massive anyways. So I steadied myself, took aim. As I exhaled, squeezed that trigger, and I heard the thump. You know, when you shoot, when you impact something, you can hear that thud. And this buck jumped like 5 feet in the air and then took off like a bat out of hell. So here I am thinking I just shot my first buck, and it's this beautiful, massive 10-point. Oh yeah, there's no deer in AEP at all. The Amish shoot every one of them. So I start ringing Clyde and my stepdad on the walkie-talkie. I'm like, Rob, Clyde, I just shot this buck. And, well, did you see any blood? Is there any fur? I'm like, no, you told me to sit still. I'm not getting up. You told me to stay here, so I'm staying here. I don't want to walk up on it and spook this thing, make it jump and run some more. So I'm waiting, and they finally show up. Clyde's like, all right, where did you take the shot? Where was the deer? And I could see the bark missing from where the shot hit the tree. And he was right over there. Clyde goes looking. The only thing we can come up with is that my shot fell just underneath of that deer's chest. There was no blood, no fur. Like, I had a total clean miss, but that shot had to come just underneath of him. So we go back to camp, get lunch, decide later that evening we're going to head back out. So Rob and Clyde take my brothers. I'm the oldest of 3. So they took my brothers and they headed off this way, and points me towards a power line, says, hey, walk up the power line, find a nice little brush pile to sit in or a tree to sit against. Here's your walkie-talkie. Ring us if something happens. Okay, no problem. Not even 15 minutes. Not even 15 minutes after I heard my stepdad's truck leave. Hey, JV. No worries, man. So I hear my stepdad's truck leave. I'm sitting there for about 15 minutes, and here comes this doe, a big doe. And she's got I don't want to say a fawn because there was no spots, but it was definitely a smaller, like, yearling doe, come up right behind her. And I pulled a rabbit shot with that 12 gauge bolt action. I don't even remember aiming. And this deer wasn't even 15 yards away. It was basically sticking the gun out and pulling the trigger. And I dropped her on the spot. It went through her shoulder, out her spine. So I called my stepdad on the walkie-talkie. I start ringing. I'm like, I got a deer this time. He's like, oh, you're full of shit. And I'm like, no, it's laying on the ground, kicking in front of me. So unfortunately, my first deer that I ever shot weighed about as much as a German Shepherd when she was dressed out. But that was my first rabbit kill and my first deer. Hey, Jay. I was wondering if you were going to make it or not. I didn't think you were going to with as late as you were working tonight. All right. Courtney's last question. No, Huntsman. Man, I know I've said it in the past. I'm not a trophy hunter. I'm out there hunting for meat. Like, I need to put meat in the freezer. I told Sarah 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago? 3 years ago now? 3 years ago now. I told her that I was thinking about, I started watching the Hush channel and they're big game hunters out west. They do a lot of elk hunting.
Yeah.
I said, I'm kind of thinking about getting a crossbow and getting back into deer hunting because I'd been squirrel hunting and trapping up to that point and all that. So I'm like, I think I might want to get a crossbow and get back into deer hunting. I'm hunting for back straps. Don't care what carries them to me. Oh. So I come home. I don't remember what I was doing, but I come home later that day. Or no, I was at home. I was out in the garage. And you come home.
You had gone to Runzo's because you.
Anyways.
The model. No. You had gone to Runzo's because you would text me while I was at work and told me about the crossbow that was there and how much it was. And you were just looking because that's what you did.
So I told her about this crossbow that I found, and then I went about my day and I did something else and never gave two thoughts to it because we couldn't afford it at the time, really. The queen. Oh. But I was either in and out of the house doing something. Well, I was in and out of the house doing something, and she comes home with this crossbow and she sets it on the kitchen chair. I walked right by this thing once or twice and didn't even notice it was there until she pointed it out. So it was just one more thing. My wife saw an opportunity for a way to get me out of the house and she took it. Skinny mosquito, four-eyed queer. Okay. Loner, get more views. Hey, man, we're getting all the views tonight. It's a troll. It's an asshole. That's what it is. It's probably somebody from the Wood Squad. Oh, that's okay. Courtney's last question was, what's your favorite dog breed and why? Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I'm a bulldog fan. We grew up with Rottweilers. We've grown up around Labradors. We've grown up with Beagles. My mom had a toy fox terrier. Out of all the dogs I've ever been around, the loyalty that bulldogs have given me has been top notch. I don't know. Personally, I do want another Rottweiler someday. The Rotties were awesome growing up. Jughead and Keto were great dogs. And highly intelligent, like problem solving, smart. The Rottweilers were awesome. But when I got Kiba, and Kiba, she wasn't even really, I guess I'm into bully pits is more or less. Because Kiba was American Bulldog and Pit Bull. And she just had a different type of intelligence when you looked into her eyes. It wasn't like looking at a dog. It was like looking, there was a soul behind her eyes. There was an intelligence there. And the loyalty that I got out of that dog was it was priceless. No, she was half American Bulldog. We actually have her son Stunt. If you see him in my videos, we have her son Stunt, who's 9 years old now, and then we have his son Hardy, and Hardy's going on 5 or 6, I think 6. because he's a year older than our son. Yeah, the bulldogs are just smart. I mean, okay, like I said, we've grown up around labs. I had a lab for a little while that I kind of took care of her for my mom and my brother. And when Kylie looked at you, you could tell like there was nothing turning. She could take a command and follow a command, and she was smart like when you would tell her to do things, but you could tell just looking at her that there was absolutely nothing going on. She was like brainless. It was great. I used to call her our waterhead. But I mean, yeah, Stunt, the intelligence that Stunt shows is I don't see the kind of intelligence in most other dogs as what I have in mind. But I also have taken hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of time training my dogs. Hardy is really our only true companion animal. Stunt and Sydney are both working dogs. My wife's companion animal.
I need somebody when you leave all the time.
Yeah, Hardy is really the only companion animal here. Stunt and Sid both work. I mean, Stunt's on the edge of retirement. He's, like I said, he's 9 years old, so he has not pulled in the last 3 years. The only thing he does now is carry a pack, and I'll only put 10% of his weight in the pack. I won't load him up like I do Sydney. Sydney, I'll still put 20-25% of her weight in her pack, which is, she's 82 pounds, so I can roughly put 15 to 17 pounds in her pack, and she's comfortable carrying that. Don't forget to iron that laundry. German Shepherds are smart dogs too. I had now Klondike was not trained in any way. Klondike was rescued on a chain and spent his life on a chain for the period that I had him, and I tried everything I could to get him off of a chain. I put him in a kennel, and he would howl all night long. I tried bringing him in the house, and it was, you don't bring a wolf hybrid in your house. You just don't do it. Klondike was a 9th generation hybrid. He was 91% Arctic Wolf and 9% White German Shepherd. That dog had an intelligence like none other. There, you could look at that dog and tell he was thinking no matter what. And he would analyze situations happening in the yard. Like, you could watch people screwing around in my yard, and you could watch my dog figuring the situation out if it was something that he needed to pay attention to or if he was just going to ignore it. And most of the time, he ignored it. That dog was massive, 160 pounds. Yeah, Klondike was you said it right. He was a very primal animal. He was not like a pet dog. It was nothing like a regular pet dog. I'm just trying to check up on the chat here real quick, guys. Okay, yeah, I ain't missed too much. So we've been at it for an hour, and we actually covered everything I wanted to, except for the stove tonight, and that's because I'm not about to let a stove run in my living room. We already have insurance issues. So do you guys have any questions for HPO? What do you guys want to know? Oh, so the Homestead live streams are going to be a thing. And it's, I was actually kind of talking to Sarah today. It's what we're about to do on the scale that we're about to do it. I've not seen anybody else do it. I have seen people, okay, the Huntsman, you know, you have your live stream build series of the cottage. And I've seen people live stream their projects. You know, live stream working on things and stuff like that. We are about to start not just live streaming, but life streaming. Like, we're going to be live streaming the entire, anything that deals with the Homestead build, we're going to live stream it from start to finish. So, you know, you're going to see the project live stream. You're going to see the Homestead being built on a live stream. So just like what Steve has going on over there with his bushcraft build series on the cottage, but it's going to be on a much larger scale. I mean, we're not just building a shelter, like we are building our homestead. And the only fixtures we have and that we're like getting out of this entire deal is the house and the garage. So we have to build everything from absolute scratch. Steve, it's going to be a reality TV. It's going to be a reality show like I've not been able to find yet. Because, I mean, there's going to be times where I just set up and let it stream and go about my day. Like, there's going to be times where I just straight up ignore that chat. So you're going to see life unfold as we're going, not just live streaming the project. Like, if I get tired of working on it and I decide to walk away, I'm going to leave the stream playing and go about doing something else. That's the big thing that we're looking at doing, guys. I got to figure this whole streaming thing out and get the highest quality that I can. Because, yeah, I don't want the Homestead streams to look like this junk. Thanks, Frontier. I think it's going to be really cool, man. Like I said, it's not just going to be live streaming. This is going to be live streaming. And yeah, like I said, I mean, like I've seen the homesteaders like live stream doing their chores and live stream their homestead project or working on this or working on that. But while they're live streaming, they pretty much have everything else in the background shut out. Like there's nothing else happening in the background. And that's not how I want this to work out. It's going to be like, if I decide to stream, well, not if I decide, but the days that I stream, like if it's an all day project, we're going to be streaming all day. If it's a project that only takes a couple hours, then we might stream for 4 to 5 hours that day. Something along those lines, something like that. It's still a little bit of concept working out and getting things figured out to be able to stream everywhere, but yeah, that's what we're doing. Hey, Huntsman, thanks for coming in, man. Be safe driving home, dude. Yeah, JV, I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited about it. I think it might actually make me get more busy. Which, I mean, yeah, let's make Zach more busy. But yeah, I want to. I don't know. I got to do a little bit more than what I'm doing right now. Yeah, Frontier. We're gonna see how it goes over. But eventually I'll probably put the Homestead stuff on Twitch and have it more interactive. But that's farther down the road, like maybe once we have a few of the buildings built and like the animal paddocks put up. Make it interactive, like, okay, well, do you guys want to go hang out in the garage? Do you want to go to the chicken coop? Do you want to go to the barn? You know, things like that. You want to go work on this? Do we want to go check this out? Do we want to go hang out at the pond? Keep it interactive on the homestead. But that's going to be like, I'd have to sit down with Steve and figure that one out. That's not going to be something I could message him back and forth because I'm not a tech savvy person. Yeah, JV, it's going to be yeah, I mean, when you're streaming for that kind of length of time, you're going to you'll get people coming in throughout the entire span of the time you're streaming. So no matter what, I mean, you're going to always end up with a good chunk of people in the chat, and eventually the chat will keep itself going. So like I said, I'll be able to just let it go and walk off and do what I need to do and just make sure that I stay in frame. And then doing it that way, like I said, you guys would actually be able to see how life would unfold around here, not just live streaming that particular thing, keeping everything else shut out. Like, oh, well, we've got a break to check the birds' water. We got a break to let the dogs out. We got a break to go get the kid from school. We got a break to go change a diaper because there's a new one on the way. That kind of stuff. But yeah. All right, guys. I think that I'm actually going to get ready and shut it down because we've been at it for an hour and 8 minutes now. And I feel like we've actually had a pretty good stream this time. So, yeah, guys, make sure that you got the bell rang because when the live sessions there's not going to be any set time. I'm not going to have my live streams on a set schedule. It's going to be like just whenever I pop off on a live stream. JV, we're working the connection thing out. I'm thinking a really long network cable and an extra Wi-Fi router. Hey, thanks for coming over, Jefferson. Take it easy, Heath. Thanks for coming over, Mo. All right, you guys take it easy. I'm going to go ahead and shut her off now, and I'll see you on the next one.